Awesome. Well, we have Greg Gillis here with us from Tanzania. Hey, Greg, how are you?
Hi, Raina. How are you tonight?
Well, so amazing to be chatting with you from Karanzi. It looks like you're sitting outside. Is that right?
Yes, we're actually sitting outside at actually a restaurant that we're at, a lodge we're at tonight. So we finished up our week of activities at in Karachi, and then we did a little R&R, and I'm outside the restaurant that we had a lovely dinner at tonight.
Wow. And you got to go on safari today, I understand.
That's right. Yeah, that was my first time in being here to Tanzania, and of course, I think everybody that comes here needs to experience that if they can. It was amazing. You know, you see these things in National Geographic and on TV and on different specials, and you grow up seeing these kinds of things, but never in person. So it was a real treat to be able to do that today.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your mission in going to Tanzania.
Okay, well, I've been long-term member of Perimeter Church for about 28 years, and so I've been involved in different aspects of ministry, business, different trips, medical, all kinds of different things with multiple different countries, and became involved in Tanzania a couple of years ago through an invitation from Lee Williams. And I'm an officer at Perimeter, and I have three grown boys, a wife, and been involved in a lot of short-term journeys over the years, different places, and had a chance to do that. I'm a business guy. I owned a business here for 20 years and run a business involving water purification, water treatment here in the Duluth area of Atlanta, and have really been, I really, I guess, been entrusted with a lot of good opportunities and experiences over the years. And one of my passions is to work with business people, give back, provide training, all kinds of just imparting business skills and things that will help businesses develop and grow economically. And in Crancy, one of the things that's obviously we're trying to do there is really help a lot of the business owners in town to understand how they can grow their business and give them some tools and practical ideas for doing that. So that's what we spent a lot of time doing this week.
So tell us a little bit more about what that involved. I understand you led a number of
So
workshops.
we had the leadership there at Shefo reach out to invite uh, 40 different business people, men and women throughout the village and around the surrounding area that would like to participate in some business training. And so we had two sessions. They were each 2 days each. They were half days between say 8:30 and 12:30 each day. So Monday and Tuesday we had a group of 20 uh, class members, and then on Thursday and Friday we took another 20 and did the same modules that we did with the first 20. So we could reach 40 people or so. And so what we did is we trained them on could put together put together with Lee some curriculum to address things like establishing a vision for your business. What is the purpose of it? Why are you doing what you're doing? Then rolling into things like understanding a business plan, the basics of a business plan. What are the elements that go into that? What are the key components to a business plan, which many of them really never have really even thought about a business plan of writing things down on paper. So they may have existing business that may be very young, or these are shop owners, these are butchers, these are people that run, women's clothing, fruit stands, all kinds of different businesses that may benefit from these kinds of things. And we talked about things like customer service, and we talked about things like accounting principles and record keeping. What do you measure in your business, and why do you measure those things, and what does it matter? How does one know that whether you're making a profit in your business? And we talked about that and some basic principles about accounting and understanding what to measure. And then we also talked about some biblical principles that character qualities that business owners might really that they would want to possess, things like integrity and things like diligence and those kinds of things that are going to serve a business owner well. And we covered that from a biblical perspective as well. So we rolled in a biblical worldview as we talked about business, but gave them some real practical skills, and then have breakout sessions, had homework, and different things that we had them do exercises with to help them kind of reinforce it. Utilized some of the young graduates for that. That came through from the school program there at Caranci, and they did a wonderful job with us. We had them shadow, Lee and I had them shadow us all week as we went. In the morning, we had our business training, and then in the afternoons, we scheduled visits to go visit, scheduled consulting visits to go visit those businesses. So we spent time in the morning, and then we had a kind of a sign-up sheet, and we'd go out, and then we'd meet with those businesses one-on-one, ask them some more in-depth questions, understand a little more about their business, and try to do some things to help them. And then so the graduates, the young graduates, had a chance to really shadow us and learn and enhance their development as well, which was really rewarding.
That's so cool. So in visiting the shopkeepers, can you give us some examples of how you were able to consult with them and maybe give them some advice to help them improve their business?
Okay, so let's say there's a general shop owner that carries multiple goods there in their shop, and what we would do is we had a form and a template that we used to basically ask some basic questions like, what are some of the challenges that you have in your business? How do you promote your products? How many competitors do you have in the village, and where do you get your products to sell? What kinds of products do you sell? What kind of profits do you make with your products? And what's selling, what's not selling, to help them understand. Some of them wanted help with how do I capitalize my business? In other words, gain capital to expand my business, because that's a difficult thing, because banks are very difficult to get arrangements with there in Tanzania. So there was a number of different things they would ask as far as marketing related questions. Maybe it was accounting, maybe it was things on how to differentiate their business. One of the big challenges is a lot of the businesses sell the same products. So what makes them different and better? And so we talked about creating unique and distinct value for those businesses. So that was something that they hadn't really thought about a whole lot. So it was just probing into those things and trying to see where areas that we could help them.
Mm, that's so cool. And I'm assuming that most of them really have had no type of business training. They're locals that have grown up in the village. Is that typical of
hmm
most of the background?
Yeah, most of them, I would say, had learned how to do business through their family.
Mhm.
So there may be a family member that was doing this perhaps before them, or perhaps not. But I would say that's we asked that question, and that was one of the answers that was commonly given for that. They, maybe learned business maybe through a friend, but they didn't go to business school. They didn't learn it through any kind of formal means. They kind of just get out there and start doing it. Or they had a family member that taught them how to do it. So um, the feedback that we got this week, we took some surveys and some things, and it was tremendous. Um, I think one of the comments that I think was most uh, pertinent was someone said, um, you know, not only did you hit the target, but what you provided was perfect, and we are hungry for more information. We are hungry for more of this, and want to know when you're going to be doing it again. So that was kind of cool. So things like that
Yeah.
that came back from the surveys that kind of reinforced that that we're I think we're kind of meeting a need there, that there's no other place that they're going to get that. Well, the area is growing for sure, and the last year two have been a little tough with the COVID and things like that, in terms of that's impacted those folks as well there, just like it has other places, because of things like supply chain and cost of goods are going up, and lots of things are impacting the local markets and things, just like they're impacting us here in the States. So um, I think I think there's no doubt that that place is growing. This is my first time there, but I can tell you that people who have been there over the last number of years that we've been working in Tanzania have seen tremendous growth and some, just some transformation that's going on in that community. And we think that the business community is, a thriving, healthy business community is going to do nothing but provide opportunities for people that don't exist now.
Exactly. Did I see in some of the photos that there's a coffee shop?
Yeah, well, there's a couple coffee
Love
shops.
that.
You would have a hard time recognizing them since we're so familiar with something like a Starbucks, and it has no resemblance to that whatsoever. So, yeah, they're very crude, but yet, typical for the village. And uh, yeah, you would smile if you saw some of the things that people called coffee shops there. That it was a very, elementary kind of beginning to something. But one of the fun things was is to be able to talk to them about some ideas they could
Mhm.
have for things like bringing in food and serving that with coffee. That's a foreign concept, is to
Mm.
have food in a place where you're serving coffee or selling coffee. So that was one of the interesting kind of consulting things that came out of the meeting that we had with them.
Oh, that had to be so fun just to be on that level with the people there in the community. And I also understand you had a chance to visit your sponsored child. Tell us a little bit more about that, Greg.
Yeah, my wife and I, Diane and I, had decided to sponsor a child, and they had a new list of children who were becoming available. So we selected a little girl that's 4 years old, and had a chance to meet up with her. And so my wife did a really amazing job of putting together some gifts and little things together for her. And so one of the highlights certainly of the week was meeting her and being able to meet her mother, and to see her face when she knew what was happening and what was going on, and the opportunity that sponsorship can give to a child. And so her mother was just overwhelmed with joy and tears, and it was a pretty special moment to be able to be there for that. And this is the kind of thing with the sponsorship is where they help provide education, meals, clothing, and things that these kids really are not in a position to have. And this is a single mom, and young gal, that little girl that doesn't have a father in her life. And so it's a privilege to be able to come alongside and to be a part of her family. So we'll see how that all works out, and we're excited to be able to do that for her.
That's so cool. Well, I know whenever you have a chance to volunteer, you're using your hands and your heart to help people, but it's also returned to you. Talk to me about some of the blessings of just being there, some of the gifts you've received by saying yes to going.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rena. I mean, um, oftentimes you go. I would say it's very common to go there and think, I'm going to go give something to someone, and you're going to be the giver, and they're going to be the receiver. But as you go, what happens is the opposite of that. What happens is that, yes, you serve and you go to give, but yet in return you get a blessing that really is comes the other direction. And it shouldn't surprise me, but again, it did this week. I think there's some things, especially children. I love the way that the transformation is happening within the school and the teachers and the children. And so we walked in the classrooms where they're singing and doing scripture and doing different really fun things that filled my heart with joy. Studying apple, and so those kind of things that you see. I know the people that have been here years past today, and see the difference, and then you see the community and see the level of the teachers and the impact that they're having in these kids' lives, and these kids that are growing up to be uh, young adults, with the opportunities that they never had before. in terms of education, in terms of maturity, leadership. They're creating leaders, and that's very exciting to see that. So the people there are just amazing. Um, they are so grateful for you coming. They're so grateful for your serving, and in return, you get blessed. So it just happens in the process, and it's one of the things I could tell people who come there. If if you do come and you go on a trip like this and you serve in this ministry as well, it's an amazing return of blessing that you really can't even anticipate. So it's pretty neat.
And I know your time there has really made such a difference in such a meaningful, powerful way for those
Mm.
people. So thank you for going and for serving and for supporting Ubora.